بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So usually Friday nights are my Arabic tafsir, but I change things around a little bit, just allow for people who don't usually attend some of these sessions to attend them, as sometimes it's difficult for someone to attend on a certain night. So I just moved Sunday English to Friday and Arabic to Sunday, and Seerah will be Sunday as well, giving me my Saturdays for the next few weeks to get to know my family a little bit. So last time we had the session, I had gone through the first 5 verses of Surat Al-Muzzammil over the course of I think a full session or more. And the reason that we didn't read much is because I offered a comprehensive introduction to the surah itself and what the surah is talking about, so you can always go back to the recording and listen to it if you missed it. I'm not going to repeat it again because it's a long introduction. We'll basically take the whole session. Surat Al-Muzzammil is an early surah revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, so we're talking number 3 or 4. And there has to be some sentimental value for reciting the surah that were revealed so early on in his life, ﷺ, early on in his prophecy, because of the attachment that we have to that period and the fact that this is the first few pieces of revelation that he heard as a prophet, and one of the first things that the Sahaba heard in their lives. And obviously, in any discussion or conversation, you kind of listen to the first 10 minutes more than you do to the middle of it or the end of it. And I don't think there's any difference, wallahu a'lam, even in the case of our relationship with Allah, even though it shouldn't. So the Sahaba, I'm sure, the first 7, 8 revelations were of extreme importance to them as they were hearing what it was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was communicating to them. And Surat Al-Muzzammil is one of them. And Muzzammil al-Mudaththir, as I kind of explained over the course of the last session, within this juz' that talks about representation of Islam, representing Islam through da'wah, or through behavior, or however you want to represent it. We're the guardians of this book. And the moment you accept Islam and you accept the buy-in of what Islam is, then you are a guardian of this deen, and you have to represent it, you have to carry it to others. It's a part of the deal. You're not really permitted to accept Islam and then go live like a hermit, unless this is the political reality that has been that you've been forced, or has been forced upon you. Aside from that, you have to represent Islam. And this just went through a number of categories regarding that. It talked about the requirements, 4 basic requirements of knowledge and ethics and connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and behavior. It gave examples of da'wah. It talked about the pillars of what a proper da'wah would look like. And it gave examples of Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam and the Prophet alayhi salam with the jinn. And we went through that. And these 2 surahs, Al-Muzzammil and Mudaththir, they talk about what you are going to do. When it comes to representing Islam, there are 2 aspects of it. There's that which you need to do for yourself. That is that is going to allow you to continue to carry the message. It's what you need in order for you to do it. And then what you're going to project upon the world around you, which is what Mudaththir talks about. And I differentiated for you between the concept of tazammul and tadaththur. And ad-dithar is what you wear on the outside, and ma tazammalta bihi is what you cover your direct body with. So it's not something that other people see, but it's very close to your skin, right? So and this choice of words is very accurate for what the surahs are going to talk about and explain. Muzzammil, the surah talks about that, what do you need for you? There has to be a part of Islam that you take for you. And I talked about this in one of the khutbahs I gave a few weeks ago. That within Islam, there's an aspect of Islam that's yours. This is for you personally. You have to take this for yourself, so that you can benefit, so that you can draw yourself closer. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, where you are in your life, or when you are in your life, or what's going on. There's a portion of Islam that is absolutely just for you, for your benefit, for your closeness, for your connection, for your inner strength, for your inner peace, for your ability to continue to move forward within this world that is very seldom merciful towards those who stumble. And that's what Surat Al-Muzzammil talks about. And Mudaththir talks about something different, and we'll come to that. It talks about what is it you're going to project, how you're going to go about dealing with people around you and the world that surrounds you. And it makes sense that these were the early surahs to the Prophet ﷺ, because they summarized everything. Here's what's in it for you, and here's what you need to carry in order for this to work. And honestly, what is there within Islam outside of that? Like outside of these two concepts, what's left of Islam? Really not much. Not much. Maybe learning the details of halal and haram, and these can be learned within a course of fiqh. You can probably figure out what it is that you can and cannot do. So they're very, very important surahs, and as all the whole Quran is. But you have to offer these surahs a certain degree of your attention because of when they were revealed and what they really talk about. So the first command that the surah contained was قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا نِصْفَهُ أَوْ انْقُصْ مِنْهُ قَلِيلًا أَوْ زِدْ عَلَيْهِ. So the first command was قِيَامُ اللَّيْلِ أو قُمِ اللَّيْلِ, which could mean that you pray at night, or it could mean that you continue to observe your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it depends on how you understand the word qum, or the concept of qiyam. Most likely it's talking about salah and worship. And the Prophet ﷺ, at the beginning of Islam, he was given this command to worship a lot at night. The salah, the way we have it today, Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, it wasn't like that at the beginning. It actually took a long time for it to turn into that. And for the number of rak'at to be 4 and 3, that didn't happen initially. It was very different. But at the beginning of Islam, the salah was happening at night. So when he was told, قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, pray all night except a little bit, he's not talking about all night, as in the 12 hours between 7:41 and 5:43. They're not 12 because we live in Canada, but yeah, they're close enough. It's not that whole time, but rather the time of the night where you are not asleep, where you're not sleeping. So, and this is the understanding of the scholars that I think is that I accept and I believe is much more appropriate in comprehension of what's being said here. Meaning, the Prophet ﷺ was not commanded to pray all 12 hours. He was commanded to pray as much as he could from the time where he wasn't asleep. And he was asked in his life, ﷺ, what is the best way to do this? And he said, خَيْرُ الصَّلَاةِ وَخَيْرُ الْقِيَامِ قِيَامُ دَاوُودَ عليه. And the best qiyam is the qiyam of Dawood. فَكَانَ يَنَامُ نِصْفَ اللَّيْلِ وَيَقُومُ ثُلُثَهُ أَوْ سُدُسَهُ وَيَنَامُ سُدُسَهُ أَوْ ثُلُثَهُ. So the narrations are a bit different. So he would sleep half the night and then pray for a third and then sleep for a sixth, or pray for a sixth and sleep for a third. So that's the best way that the Prophet ﷺ, when he described salah. And that's not what most people understand this surah to be. قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, pray the whole night except a little bit. We understand it as all night. No, as in when you're not asleep. So at the beginning, it was much more difficult than that. If you weren't sleeping, you had to be praying. Well, you say, well, I mean, what if I slept all night? People didn't sleep all night back then for a couple of reasons. Because night started really early. Back then, night began with Maghrib. You prayed Maghrib and you barely stayed awake until Isha. I lived in Syria for a year and a half when there was no electricity. Absolutely no electricity. It was 2 hours a day and it came in the middle of the day. Never at night. It was the best time of my life, hands down. Like, my wife doesn't enjoy it, and the people that I lived with don't like me saying that, but I was the happiest clam that you'd ever met. Because it was after Isha, there was nothing, you just went to sleep. You went to sleep because there was nothing, there was no light anywhere. Aside from the stars and the moon, there's nothing else, and it's impossible to stay awake if that's the case. You might as well just go to sleep. So people back in the day, they would sleep, and the biphasic sleep is what the human race has always had. Until the Industrial Revolution and we came up with all these lights and then things changed. The biphasic sleeping, so people would sleep after Isha, meaning just as, what is Isha really? Isha is when the last light in the horizon is no longer there. That's how Adhan al-Isha goes by. Adhan al-Isha is based on the fact that the light in the horizon, you can't see it anymore. So you go out, you make the Adhan. So people would stay awake after sunset, because there's still some light. At sunset, it's not completely dark. You can still see. You can play soccer for an hour after sunset because the light is still there. When does it get really dark? When Isha starts, when there's no light in the horizon anymore. So at that point, people would sleep. He would, alayhi salatu wasalam, would sleep right after Isha. But if you start sleeping at 9, you can't sleep until 6 o'clock. It's impossible. Unless you're a child, and children will do this, and that's fine. If you're a grown human being, if you're an adult, you're going to wake up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. This is known. So people, historically, I'm speaking all across the world, regardless of their religion, their faith, and their race, they would wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and they would do stuff. They would wake up, they would eat, they would socialize, they would cook, they would hunt. They would spend an hour and then they'd go back and sleep again for a few hours before the sun actually came up. This was the norm of human beings everywhere, in Europe, in the Middle East, and on the equator, wherever you may be. What the Prophet ﷺ was told to do is قُمِ اللَّيْلِ, meaning when you wake up, instead of sitting around doing nothing, chatting with with people or washing, pray. You're awake, salli. Now that the time that you're awake, get up and pray. Pray the whole time, for as long as you can stay awake. And he was told to do this alayhi salatu for a long time before the rituals of salah were later on amended, changed a bit, so he went back to what Dawood was doing, half, third, sixth, or half, sixth, third, however you want to look at it. So the first thing is that praying. Well, why, ya Rab? Why would I do this? It's nighttime. قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Pray the whole night, except a little bit of it, I mean the part of it that you're awake. نِصْفَهُ, half of the time when you're awake. أو انقص منه قليلا, or a little bit less than that is fine. أو زد عليه, or a little bit more than that if you want. He's being told by Allah, I'm not going to hold you to an exact amount, but for as much as you can, pray. But why? إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. That's why. Because the burden we're going to bestow upon you is extremely heavy. You're going to be carrying a very heavy burden. قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. The revelation that's going to come to you is heavy. There's a lot you're going to have to do. You're going to sacrifice a lot. You're going to lose a lot. You're going to do a lot. Your life is not going to be the comfortable, slow-paced life that most of us are trying in our minds to plan out for ourselves so that we can live a slow-paced, quiet, comfortable life. You're not going to get that. The moment you accept La ilaha illallah, you're on. You're up, move. And you're going to stay like that until the day you die. So that's a lot of work. You can get burnt out. You can get tired. So in order for you not to get burnt out or tired or fatigued or fed up or frustrated or lose your momentum, قُمِ اللَّيْلَ. Pray at night. Use this fuel. Take this fuel of your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the point of serving God but you don't speak to Him? There's no point. There's no relationship. If a father goes to work every single day to feed his family but never speaks to his children, what do you think happens at the end? Have you not seen examples of what happens? Do you come from a household like that? Do you have a household that you can talk about that's like that? It doesn't really work, does it? Even though the father is doing nothing but going to work all day long to feed the family, but if he does not establish a relationship with one, either the kids are upset with him or he's upset with them. He's not going to be happy with how they turn out, or they're not going to be happy with the life that they lived with him. Because relationships aren't built just on service. It's built on connection. We have to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're ibad. We're ibad. But service without connection is meaningless. Right? Service with no connection at all is a problem. It doesn't end up actually fulfilling the purpose, and it's not very meaningful. You have to establish connection. And this is known in every form. See, every single discipline in life that has service in it teaches you how to build quick and meaningful connections. A salesperson, they are taught how to do this. They have to figure out a way in. They have to figure out how to relate to this poor dude that they want to rip off and sell a piece of garbage that they can't afford anyways. They have to find a way to relate to them. So if they can relate to them, the guy will open up and now they can have, so they have to establish a relationship. If you have good rapport with this client, it'll always be you talking to them. In medicine, the same thing. I have to walk into a room and tell someone you have a year and a half. First time meeting this person, I have to tell them, look, you're looking at a year and a half, your best case scenario, and it's going to suck the whole time because you're going to be sick, there's going to be a lot of chemo, and you're not going to like any of this. How is that possible? I have to be able to build a relationship quickly because being a physician, you're in the service industry, you're here to serve people, so you have to learn how to build a connection. Physicians who don't build connections, ask their patients about them, even if they're the smartest people on the planet, and they are up to date and they're the best researchers, and they're actually literally coming up with all the medications, their patients hate them. They don't like them. They don't want to deal with them. They'd rather deal with a resident who doesn't even know what the treatment is, but will at least talk to them, will at least build a connection with them. So we know this. We know that service without connection is meaningless, which is why this whole surah is here. If you're going to go out, إِنَّا سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا. I don't think we stopped there, right? Was anyone here last time, remember? No one does. I can't remember where we stopped. I think we stopped there. I don't think we did anything more. Okay. The surah is actually very comprehensive. Like it's going to explain a few more pieces on this front that I don't want to get ahead of myself here. But it's talking about the fact that you need to have a connection. That's why the first command, قُمِ اللَّيْلِ. You have to pray. It's fuel for you. Because if you're connected to me, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this you can bear the difficulties that are going to be bestowed upon you. You can bear the burden. You can continue to go. If you don't have the fuel, you're going to burn out. You're going to lose because there's no connection. Right? There's no I can't think of a relationship that is service-driven that works without connection. Marriages don't work. Even if you're working and all of your wealth is going for your wife, if she doesn't feel the connection, she doesn't want to be with you. Or she'll take your money and go get, it doesn't work. The connection has to be there. There has to be That peace. It's in everything in life. It's a part of our experience as human beings. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, look, it doesn't, you have to, talk to me. What is salah? What is qiyam? Aside from you speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at a time where everyone else is asleep, right? Think about the context of 7th century Arabia. Everyone's asleep. It's pitch black out. It's dark. There's nothing. And you're doing this. Qiyam is not done jama'ah outside of Ramadan, right? Very rarely, except for training purposes. Ramadan is where we do it. Otherwise, you stand and you pray, you speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. It's a very intimate relationship. When you should be resting and sleeping and enjoying the night, you're going to go and speak to Him. Why? Because inna sanulqi alayka qawlan. It's very interesting, the ta'leel, the offering of the reasoning. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offered the reason. Here's why. Here's why you need to do this, because I'm going to bestow upon you a heavy, heavy revelation. So you need this. If you are capable somehow, after listening to this and maybe other sessions as well, given by other people, not necessarily myself, to change your perspective on what salah is, then a lot of khair will come to you. Instead of seeing salah as an extra burden, you see salah as the fuel that you require to carry the burden. Right? When he says, سَنُلْقِي عَلَيْكَ قَوْلًا ثَقِيلًا, we're going to bestow upon you a heavy revelation, or heavy burden. Al-Qiyam wasn't one of them. Qum al-Layl wasn't a part of that. Qum al-Layl was what was going to help him carry it. For as long as we continue to see salah as a burden that we have to carry, meaning we have to do this, it's tiring, you will continue to struggle and suffer with Islam. When salah has to be picked up and put on in the other hand of the scale. It's over here. It's something that helps you. It helps make this burden more bearable. How have you messed it up to the point where it's a burden itself? You made the fuel the burden. Haram alik. That's not what it was designed to be. And that's what Surat Al-Muzzammil does. It talks about the fuel, the stuff that you need, the stuff that will bring your heart closer, the things that will fill you with love, with compassion, with empathy, with closeness, so that carrying the burden, going out there and fighting the world, pushing back against the tide of lack of morality, of lack of ethic, pushing back against that is something you have more strength to do it. You're more motivated, and you have you'll last longer, right? You have more durability. It's the lack of durability that the shaitan bargains on, and everyone else does too. Think about, for example, Gaza. Think about the first 3 months, and think about now. There hasn't been a change in the brutality of the killings. If anything, it got worse. They went from just bombing Gaza to bombing every country around them that didn't agree with them. But we lost our momentum. Why? Because durability is not there. You get tired after a while. You're tired even of hearing about it. Because the Sheikh talked about something different. They bargain on that just stick with this long enough, and they will lose momentum. They can't hold on to it. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that's how it is. It's a game of durability. Are you able to last longer in this fight, in this standoff? You want to last longer? قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا نِصْفَهُ أَوْ انقُصْ مِنْهُ قَلِيلًا أَوْ زِدْ عَلَيْهِ. Second command, وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. You recite the Quran slowly and clearly, in a beautified manner. Tartil is when you say something in a beautified manner. We really don't do that with anything else. If I pick up a newspaper, I don't do tartil. If I pick up a book of hadith, even, I don't do. I'm just going to read. يروي الإمام مسلم في صحيحه عن فلان. But Quran, we don't do that. I don't open the Quran and do that. قُمِ اللَّيْلَ. No, you have to recite. If I stood here in Salah and I started, يَا أَيُّهَا الْمُزَّمِّلُ قُمِ اللَّيْلَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا, you would wait maybe after the Salah, and then there would be a line up to figure out what the heck is going on and why am I. Because that's not appropriate. You have to do tartil. You have to beautify the recitation. Why? Because that beautification will, right? It's a part of what you need. We need beauty. And in order for us to establish a connection, something that fills the heart, something that allows you that grants you that durability and that motivation, you need your heart to be full, heart filled with passion and compassion and love. So when you recite it, rattil. So stand and speak to me. Speak to me all night. A little bit less than that, half, a little bit less, a little bit more, whatever you can do. Speak to me and recite and beautify the recitation of my word. Right? So that so your heart moves with this, so that slowly it becomes something beautiful. you just move some of these behaviors and actions from the scale of heaviness, of the stuff I have to do, to the stuff that I look forward to doing. That's how the Prophet ﷺ saw this stuff. He looked forward to Qiyam al-Layl and Tartil al-Quran. He looked forward to it. He liked it, he enjoyed it. It helped him get through his day the next day. It was the way he put up with all of the garbage that was shoveled at him throughout the day. He would diffuse all of it through by doing this. How else can you explain him standing there, alayhi salatu wasalam, reciting in the hadith Ibn Mas'ud, when he came and stood behind him as he was praying in the masjid, and he started Surat al-Baqarah, and he said, okay, he'll recite 100 verses, and he'll make ruku', and then he completed Surat al-Baqarah, and then he started Surat al-Nisa, and he said, okay, 100 verses, and he'll make down, and he goes, and he keeps on going, he'll finish Surat al-Nisa, he'll make ruku', and he keeps on going, and he starts Ali Imran, and he said, okay, 100, and he recites al-Baqarah, Nisa, Ali Imran in one rak'ah. Ibn Mas'ud, you know Ibn Mas'ud? Ibn Mas'ud is one of the sources of knowledge for us as Muslims. The whole al-madhab al-Hanafi is based on Ibn Mas'ud. This is the biggest madhab in the Muslim world, and is based almost exclusively on the ta'aleem of Ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. He's one of the great scholars of Islam. This guy it almost has no parallel when it comes to fiqh and the knowledge of the Quran. And he said, I had an intention, I had a bad intention, I had a bad feeling, a bad thought, I'm embarrassed to share it. هممت بأمر سوء. What was it? أن أسلم وأترك رسول الله. I'm going to make salam and leave him. I don't know what this is. It's been 4 hours and reciting. But you can't explain this action. You can't explain it based on duty. Okay? You can't explain it based on duty, that he had to do this. No. This is someone who's enjoying what he's doing. And that's the distinction. That's a distinction. It's a big distinction between someone who has to do something and someone who's absolutely in a state of solace and tranquility with what he's doing. He loved it. Not just him, his ashab loved it too. Right? He's not alone. When the known story of Ammar ibn Yasir and Ubadah ibn Samit, he stood there, an Arabian arrow penetrated his shoulder, and he stood and he continued. This is honestly, when I was learning these things, I had to go back and verify some of these chains of narration because I didn't believe it. I thought this is insane. No one does this. An arrow. I've seen an Arabian arrow. It's not the Dollarama thing that you buy for your kid. This is a blade that's as big as your hand. The head of the arrow is as big as your hand. It will penetrate your heart, and it will turn it into mush. And the Arabian bow is a meter and a half. It's almost as tall as I am. It takes a man of great strength to even pull it back maybe 35 centimeters. And if you've ever heard an arrow leave the bow, the sound is horrifying. This guy gets an arrow in his shoulder, and you verify the narration. He's like, yeah, well, none of these people lie, and it's not just one person telling us this story. It's a couple of people who actually witnessed this. And then you find that it's not just Sayyidina Ubadah who did this. It's a bunch of Sahaba who did this. You have all these other stories of guys, similar, and ladies, similar. Sayyidah Zainab al-Mu'mineen, she had in her house, she had a guy come and install for her a hook. She had someone come to the house and install a hook in the ceiling so that when she prayed, she got tired, she could hold on to stand up. And Rasulullah alayhi sallam said, no, take it down. صلي ما استطعتِ. فإذا تعبتِ فنام. No, don't do it. But it's not because she felt the duty of it. She enjoyed it, but she was too tired. We've all been in that position where we want to have more fun, but we're too tired. It's not for salah. None of it. It's going to be a video game or something else you're doing where you're really having fun, but you're so tired, like your body has to sleep, and you know you have to sleep now because you can't open your eyes anymore, and your brain's not working. But you want to keep on having the fun. Every child goes through this. You have to take them, go to sleep because they're losing it. They start pooping their pants because they can't hold on to stuff anymore. She would want to pray longer because she was enjoying it. So she made a hook so she can hold on, and the Prophet said no, and he removed it. An old Sahabi by the name of Muawiyah, Ibn Muawiyah, he's standing in his house and he's praying, and the wall of his house fell down. The wall, this whole hayt just fell down that way. And he continued to pray, and his wife absolutely lost it. And they came in front of him saying, what are you doing? فَقَالَ جِدَارٌ سَقَطْ. What? A wall fell. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What do you want from me? The wall, it fell. What do you want? I'm in my rak'ah. I finished my salah. No, deal with the wall later. It's already on the ground. I have nothing. It sounds insane. Like these stories, it's the frequency of them. It's the number that makes it impossible for you to say this is all full of it. No, there's too many people who did this too. And then it's not just the Sahaba in their narration. No, you go to the next generation. You go to the generation that's behind them, and Abu Hanifa, and the generation of the Tabi'een, and you hear similar stories. Some of them even more insane. Some of them, we only start to hear the stories of the Sahaba, of the Tabi'een, who would, you're told, the Prophet ﷺ told people, don't read the whole Quran in one night. If you're going to do a lot, then every 3 nights tops. I can't even count for you the number of Tabi'een who recited the whole Quran in one rak'ah. I can't even begin to count for you the Tabi'een, the ulama, like Al-Dhahhak, wa Mujahid, wa Abdullah ibn Mubarak. It's a laundry list of Tabi'een, and of Sahaba like Uthman ibn Affan and Abu Hurairah, and the ulama after them. Well, the Prophet said not to do it. Why are you doing it? It's not because they want to do mukhalafa. It's not because they didn't want to listen to him, alayhi salam. It's because they were enjoying it too much. Because it was too fun. There was something in it for them. They were taking something for themselves from doing this. It was a fuel that they carried throughout the next of the day. And then they had to be told, I shouldn't do this every night. So they wouldn't. But if they were left to the... Abdullah ibn Umar would argue with the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam about reciting the Quran. This is a hadith in Muslim. ورتل القرآن ترتيلا, right? You say, يا رسول الله إني أقرأ القرآن في كذا. I read it in very short amounts of time. فقال اقرأه في كل شهر. Every 30 days, complete the whole thing. And Ibn Umar gets slow, thinking, 30 days, I can do better than that. Give me. فقال إذن في كل 10 days. So he starts to, every 7 days. Still, every 3 days and nothing less than that, he told him. Ibn Umar got old later on and was like, he said, I wish I accepted the first, I wish I took the first one. He offered me the bargain, like the deal at the beginning of the 30 days. He got older. It was more fatigue that held him back, not joy, right? Well, why is Ibn Umar arguing, I have to borderline murder my son to recite for 10 minutes. Like every parent is a step away from killing his family just to read the Quran for 10 minutes and finish their work. Yet, why? Because there's something missing. There's something missing for them, for us, that wasn't missing for them. That why this is surah to me is so important to read. Because it describes a joy and a beauty that the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba appreciated in their lives. They had the privilege or the opportunity to enjoy that. And really, without bringing that piece back, that fuel, without finding the fuel sources in Islam, this is going to be hard. The next, to influence generation and motivate and inspire a generation, and inspire ourselves, it's going to be difficult. Because what does inspiration and long-term motivation come from? Logic? You think logic inspires people long-term? You think logic inspires people long-term and motivates them long-term? Or rationale? Or a good argument? No. It's love. Always has been. Always will be. Rationale and logic put you on the track. What keeps you on it is something different. It puts you on the track. What keeps you on it is something different. That's why failure of marriages are ones that are motivated at the beginning with passion, with no logic, they fail. But if you get the marriage motivated by logic, meaning the idea itself is logical, it makes sense, this is a good fit, then love will keep it going. Without love, it'll fizzle out. But that goes for everything, not just for Islam, by the way. Whatever you do in your life, whatever you decide to do in your life, the same thing. Whatever discipline or field of knowledge or field of work that you choose, you have to have that. It has to make sense for you, but then you have to love it. Like it has to be, or else, it's a miserable existence. Right? It's a miserable existence to do something you absolutely despise. To every day go to a job that you don't like. To work with people you don't enjoy, doing something you think is meaningless. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytan rajim. A'udhu billah. This is the worst life. You're better off. We tell people all the time, if that's what you're doing, you need to quit. But family, I know, but it's not worth living like that. It's never worth living like that. And because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, and He knows that this is how you are, He gave the Prophet alayhi salatu this recipe. The first page of Surat Al-Muzzammil is a recipe. The last piece, the second, that long ayah at the end, It's commentary on behaviors regarding the recipe. That's all Surat Al-Muzzammil really is. And I encourage you, I'm slow with doing tafsir of these late and later surahs. Recite it yourself. You don't really need me. You can read these, you can read all this, and you can probably figure out most of what I'm saying without necessarily needing me to explain it to you. So let's keep on going. 2 commands so far. Salah and Qira'at Quran. Let's keep on going and see how many he has. So we'll start with ayah number 6, inshallah ta'ala. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن ناشئة الليل هي أشد وطئا وأقوم قيلا. There's 2 qalqalas here. أشد وطأ and then وأقوم. So there's 2 letters that have a qalqala on them, the ta and the qaf. So try to give that little bit of a jump. So it's not a fatha, but it's instability within the enunciation of the letter itself. So instead of saying wat'an, it's wata'an. Instead of saying aqwamu, it's aqwamu. So these letters, you want to give them a little bit of a jump, for the lack of a better phrase to describe this. إن لك في النهار سبحا طويلا. So he explains subhanahu wa ta'ala here and commenting on these the verses. He's adding 2 more comments. Now, first one, inna nashi'at al-layli. And nashi' is something that is developed at a certain time, or something that's being developed. Nasha'a, someone who grows up or develops. So inna nashi'at al-layli. Indeed, the prayer that is developed at night, or started at night, or begins at night, all of that is an extra. So inna salata nashi'ata fil layl. This is the taqdeer. This is how it's supposed to be understood. So inna nashi'at al-layli. Indeed, the prayer that begins or is developed or is initiated at night, hiya ashaddu wata'an. Indeed has more impact. Al-wata' is impact. وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا, and is clear in the meanings that are being said. So he's saying when you pray at night, during that time after you wake up from sleep, and that's what Ibn Abbas and Tahir ibn Ashur and others understand nashi'at al-layl to be specifically focused on the salah that happens at night after you sleep for a while, after you get a little bit of sleep and then you wake up again. When you do that, what ends up happening is you're much more calm. And when you pray, the prayer has more impact on you. See, what I'm interested in, when I'm trying to explain this to you, is the choice of words that Allah uses to describe this. This salah at night, right, regardless of when it is, and because we can get caught up in nanashia, what it means, and just the salah at night, whatever. Listen to what he says. Hiya ashaddu wata'an. It has more impact. On me who? On whom? Who does it have more impact on? Wat'uha ala man. This impact is on me, on Allah Jalla Jalalullah. Jalla Jalalullah, he does not benefit from the salah. It does not have impact on him. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has more impact on you. It does more of its job in you. Like it grants you that piece of closeness that you need. It'll impact your heart more. وَأَقْوَمُ قِيلًا. Aqwam, meaning it's better established. Qila is words. So the words are better established, meaning you're in a space, you're in a mental space, you can hear the words better. During the day, that's why the ayah right after it, إِنَّ لَكَ فِي النَّهَارِ سَبْحًا طَوِيلًا. Indeed, you have throughout the day, the daylight, سَبْحًا طَوِيلًا. You have a lot of duties that you have to carry. Sabah is from swimming, sibaha. We use this word and not just in the Quran, but in Arabic, to describe a lot of work. Because when you're swimming, every part of you is moving. That's why it's one of the best workouts, right, in the world. Because every part of you is it's an ongoing process. Because if you don't keep on moving, you're going to drown and die. So sabahan tawila is a long effort. During the day, you are busy. You have your children, and you have your work, and you have your friends, and you have your students, and you have the people, and your enemies, and you have it's a sabhan tawila. You're busy. Even when you read Quran during the day, it's hard to stay focused because there's so much going on. But at night, no. Establish a salah at night, it's quiet. It'll impact you more, and you can understand the words better. You have more time, you have more space to listen to what's being said. You see, everything that we really need, he said, subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's on the book, it's free. It costs you nothing. You don't need to sign up for all these life hack workshops and life coaches and he explained it all there. It's just when you're too busy and you're too distracted, you can't filter through all this garbage to see it. So he's telling you, subhanAllah, this is back in 700 AD. This is before electricity even existed. I mean, before this, the black box of death, was established, and we can't go for 5 minutes without looking and making sure someone messaged us and we didn't pay attention, or someone reached out to us for something. Before all that, he's being told at night. It's more impactful. You'll understand it better. Because during the day, إِنَّ لَكَ فِي النَّهَارِ سَبْحًا طَوِيلًا. You have a lot of work throughout the day. Your day is full. You're busy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ya'dhuruk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offers you a'udhur. Yes, you're busy throughout the day. Of course, you have to go to work and you have to take care of your family, take care of business. But when are you going to speak to me then? When are you going to speak to me? When are you and I going to have a conversation? When are you going to listen to what I gave you? When are you going to process it and then read it back to me? When are you going to feed it back towards me? And then talk to me about it? When are you going to do that? I know you're busy throughout the day, but are there no times for that? Pray. Talk to me at night, because I don't know how else, what relationship are we going to have if you're not going to speak to me now? If you're not going to read these words to me, then what's the point of all this? Do it at night. Subhanallah. So that's why he did, alayhi salatu for years. For years, for the first 10 years of his prophecy, alayhi salatu wasalam. This is not only what he did, but all of the kiram that were with him. All of the Sahaba is what they did. And then after Isra and Mi'raj, it was amended a little bit. So yes, at Fajr you do one, at Isha. It's still at the beginning of the night, at the first moment of the night, Maghrib, and then right at the beginning of the real night when it gets, and then right at the end of the night. Right? If you think about it, all those salahs that we have are somehow encompassing the night. You have Dhuhr and Asr that are in the day, and those are sirri salah. You don't do tartil. You don't recite out loud. It's just a check-in. It's to make sure that you're not completely lost. And if you're traveling, you put them together, right? Because you have to keep something going. You can't completely get disconnected for 12 hours at work. But then the rest of them are all one way or the other connected to the night, and then you have Qiyam al-Layl afterwards. إِنَّ لَكَ فِي النَّهَارِ سَبْحًا طَوِيلًا. We move on to the third command. We're just going to count the commands he gives here, subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're not capable of noticing the difference between surahs when it comes to that, then you're not paying attention to what we're doing. Go back to Surat al-Jinn and ask AI, since there's some benefit. How many commands are there in Surat al-Jinn? Right? How many commands are there in Surat Nuh that are direct from Allah to you as a person, not like to another prophet or to someone else? Go through these, and then you have Surat Al-Muzzammil. We're going to count them 7, 8 in a row. Qum, rattil, udhkur, tabattal, usbir, wadarni. Why? Because the surah is different. What it's talking about is different. What it's aiming for, and the difference in the rhythm, in the tone, and in the narrative that the surah has is based on the difference of its objective, right? So it's important to kind of notice these things, that the Quran is not all the same. No, every surah is very unique. It's very distinct in what it's doing. But when we don't have the time to really take a step back and listen, and connect to what's being said, it all turns into a mush. It all gets stuck together, and we don't appreciate the beauty of it. All right. وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ وَتَبَتَّلْ إِلَيْهِ تَبْتِيلًا. رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ فَاتَّخِذْهُ وَكِيلًا وَاصْبِرْ عَلَى مَا يَقُولُونَ وَاهْجُرْهُمْ هَجْرًا جَمِيلًا. So 5 more commands within these 3 verses. 5. First one, وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ. Invocate the name of your Lord. What is the name of your Lord? Allah. Invocate His name. This is a direct command for you as a Muslim to invocate the name of your Lord. Now you may invocate His name, by praising Him, by showing gratitude, by exalting Him. So you can say Allahu Akbar wa Subhanallah wa lillahi alhamd, or you can just repeat His name. And if you invocate just His name, then you are following the literal meaning of the verse that's being recited. وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ. ذِكْرُ الاسم, you're just saying the name. And you have to learn to find something within that name that you are connected to. That name is the most important name that you have as a Muslim. It's the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has many descriptions. He is Al-Kareem, He is Al-Azim, He is Al-Ghafoor, and He is Al-Rahim. But who is He? He is Allah. Allah. And that name has to, that's why people of older times, when they saw something beautiful, Allah, right? Because that's the name they love. Now it turned into more of a social thing, where we just, yell it out. Sometimes there's a, something haram happening that they like, and they say Allah, like you want to say, what? Exalt the name from using it on something like this. It became a social thing. But where it came from was because the people of earlier times, the Salaf al-Salih, their hearts were connected. So anything that happened that was of beauty, that was of awe, that was of meaningfulness, it was a reflex. It wasn't even an intended thing. You see Allah, Allah, beautiful, everything about, but because He is the beauty, subhanahu wa ta'ala. His name is what brings the sensation of beauty and the feeling of beauty and the comprehension of it in your mind and in your heart. So people say it. So وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ. See, all of these commands are for you. Pray, because it has more impact on you, especially at night, and it's clear, and it helps you carry the burden that we gave you. Recite the Quran, read it and beautify it. Don't just read it. وَرَتِّلْ تَرْتِيلًا. See, I talked to you about this before many times. Whenever there is a command, a verb that is a command in Arabic, and you repeat the origin or the root of that same word later, so رَتِّلْ تَرْتِيلًا, right? When you do that in Arabic, then what you're saying is that you need to do this really well. Like you have to do it, you have to make sure that you do it with essence, with true meaning. So, listen, if you say أكل فلان, so someone ate, they ate. If you say أكل أكلا, oh, this guy, no one has eaten anything like this. This is the guy who, if you need a picture for a dictionary of eating, this is it. No one has done this better. So anytime in Arabic you use that, and it's called al-maf'ul al-mutlaq. If you study Arabic, it has a grammatical importance and significance that is used. So anytime I use a fi'l, a verb, and then I repeat the source of it after it or the root of it, then my goal of doing that is saying, don't just do it ay kalam. Don't do it in a mediocre way. No, do it with excellence. Do this right. وَرَتِّلِ الْقُرْآنَ تَرْتِيلًا. Oh, put your whole heart in it. I don't have a nice voice. What's the best you got? Put everything you've got, all of the beauty that you contain, put it here. That's what he's trying to say. Don't just try a little bit. No, try with all of your might. Subhanallah. And there's never an ugly voice with the Quran. Subhanallah. I have one of the ugliest voices that are known to man. I really do. If you want to ever use to scare children, you use my. I'll never turn into a public speaker that people listen to because most people can't put up with my voice for more than a few seconds, and they lose it. I know that. It's the genes that I got. Alhamdulillah, I can't do anything about it. Like if there were any ways to transplant a juice box or a voice box into, I would, but it's not possible. But subhanallah, I prayed Taraweeh as an imam for 18 years straight. I did 18 years straight Taraweeh, the full thing. People prayed. Why? It's not because my voice was nice, because there's never an ugly one with the Quran. If you put your heart and you try, then the Quran will beautify it for you. The Quran will beautify the sounds that you are making just because of what. Wallahi, I know this. I'm at this point in my life, I don't care anymore. Maybe if you told me I had an ugly voice when I was 17, it would break my heart. It doesn't bother me at all. I know what it is now. But it actually shows me, see, the Quran, there's always it'll beautify. Just put your heart into it and it'll work out. وَاذْكُرِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ, and invocate the name of your Lord. Just say His name, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just may you find peace and ease and tranquility just by saying the name of Allah. And just find beauty in that. This is the third one. Number 4, وَتَبَتَّلْ إِلَيْهِ تَبْتِيلًا. So again, you see the command and the repetition of the root of the word right after it. Why? Because here in Surat Al-Muzzammil he's saying, look, Do these things well. Do them really well, and it will fill you up. Your heart will fill, and you will feel, and that fuel that now you have, you can take it for your worldly duties throughout the day and for that which you're commanded to carry. التبتل, what does it mean? From batala. And this means, if you go to the dictionary, البتل هو القطع. قطع is to cut something or to sever something. But it's not to sever something, it's to sever something from something. القطع is just to sever. البتل والقطع عن is severing away from something. So التبتل is not just severing yourself or removing yourself, it's removing yourself or distancing yourself from something else. So what tabattal means, remove yourself from everything so that you may be focused fully on him. That's why al-batul is a woman who removes herself from any form of infidelity or she's batul. She's removed herself. So it's not just a severance, it's a severance away specifically from something else. And tabattul in this context with the shadda on the ta is full disconnection. Full, disconnect yourself fully from everything else. Ilayhi, towards him. Towards him. So sever and disconnect yourself from everything else so that you may toward tabatila, perfectly, leave nothing. This is a part of what we try to teach in tazkiyah, is how to do this, is how you're supposed to. You need 10, 15 minutes of this a day, where you go to your phone and you turn it off, and you remove any screens, and you remove any distractions, and you have no one around you, and you just completely focus on Allah. You disconnect yourself from everything else. And your mind is going to fight you because your mind doesn't like this. Your mind wants to think about the upcoming exam or the last paycheck or the phone call that you're waiting or the problem that happened. Your mind wants to go down those directions. And you say, no, we're going to disconnect. Tabattal ilayhi, and just be fully focused on him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is very, very important. I can tell you that 99% of Muslims do not do this. Right? They don't. It's a habit that's been lost. This has to be brought back because this is the essence of what early Islam was about. They learned how to perform tabattul. And this word is used even in other contexts. For example, tabattul, if not used in a Quranic context, in Arabic it used to mean abstinence from any form of sexual relations. And في حديث أبي هريرة عند مسلم, when Uthman ibn Mad'un came to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام فاستأذنه في التبتل ولو أذن له لاختصينا. This is what Abu Hurairah said. That Uthman ibn Mad'un, one of the very known early Sahaba, he has many stories that are interesting. He came to the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام, he asked him for an idhn, a permission for tabattul, for abstinence, for him to be similar to what Catholic priests, for example, do or whatnot. And all the Sahaba immediately listened. Okay, what is he going to say? Because this is a big one. What is the number one distraction for men? Right? It starts distracting you at the age of 9, and it doesn't give up until you're 99. I've seen people in their 90s. I know it doesn't give up, and it doesn't give up. It's relentless. You can drug it. You can do a lot of things. It'll keep on going. So this distraction that men have, sometimes there's a thought, well, you know what? I don't care too much, and I would really like not to have this distraction in my life at all. So, and especially the poor people who can't even get married back then. It wasn't. So he said, Rasulullah, can I perform tabattul? So he said, no, alayhi salatu wasalam. Abu Hurairah said, وَلَوْ أَذِنَ لَهُ, when if he offered them permission, لَاخْتَصَيْنَا, we would have all performed a nightmare procedure that we do to dogs and cats, and we feel bad when we do it to them. They thought of this. Why? Because they wanted the concept of tabattul to be there. And the Prophet ﷺ said, no, perform tabattul, but you don't need to do that. Learn how to function as a normal human. You learn how to have a family and to have children and to have urges and to have all that. But disconnect yourself for a moment. Disconnect yourself and turn to him subhanahu wa ta'ala with all of his grace and all of his might, and focus on nothing else, even just for a little bit, even just for the moments that you're speaking to him subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's number 5. رب المشرق والمغرب لا إله إلا هو. the Lord of the East and the Lord of the West. There is no God worthy of worship except Him. And you look at it right there, it's like, what is that doing there? It's just because so far the verses have been command, just advice. Pray, recite the Quran, invocate His name. Yeah, devote yourself to Him, right? The devotion, that's what tabattul means, kind of. So all of these commands, and then in the middle of it all, رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ. But it makes sense when you see the command that comes after it. The command that comes after it is فَاتَّخِذْهُ وَكِيلًا. Choose him as your trustee. Choose him as the one whom you entrust your matters with. Any time in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you to choose him as your wakil, as the one whom you entrust your matters with, he will always before that talk of his grace. He will always, why? Because he has to sell himself to you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because he has to tell you, yes, don't choose me as your trustee for no reason. No, choose me as your trustee because I am the Lord of the East and the West and there is no God but me. So why would you trust anyone else except me? So every time he will tell you, هو على كل شيء وكيل, or you will find an ayah, لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار وهو اللطيف الخبير. You'll find verses that speak of him, that يعني, sing his praise, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he'll talk to you about, okay, make me wakil. Why? Because if you are someone who is logical and intelligent, then you wouldn't choose a wakil who is ignorant or weak or distracted or has no time for you or has no power. You don't want to entrust your life with someone like that. You want to entrust your life with someone who is experienced, who is wise, who is knowledgeable, who is wealthy, who is strong, because that way you sit back and you feel good about yourself. So every time he tells you to choose him as your trustee, he will always speak of himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, for a few moments, just to sell it. So don't choose anybody. Don't go choose fulan. Choose me. رَبُّ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُ. Who are you going to choose? Fulan? With what does he have? I gave him a few years. He's going to die soon. Why do you care? He has a little bit of wealth, but he has a few people who listen to him. He's going to be, a little growth on his back will end him. It's simple. Why would you choose him? Choose me. So he'll remind you of his grace, subhanahu wa ta'ala. All throughout the Quran, this is a rule with no exception. And I invite you to go and read. I invite you to follow the verses where he speaks of his wakala and look in every single one of them. At least one ayah that will sing his might, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Just to make sure that you're not being led in a direction that's not logical. No. Choose your wakil wisely. Choose the one who is Rabbul Mashriqi wal Maghrib, the Lord of the East, the Lord of the West. There is no God but him. فَاتَّخِذْهُ وَكِيلًا. Choose him as your trustee. This is for you. All of this is for you. Tawakkul, brothers and sisters, which I think I may have to end with this concept because it wouldn't be appropriate for me to move on from it without talking about it for a second. Why is it here? Because so far it's been like acts of worship that strengthen the heart, that connect you, that fuel you, right? Salah, with that true salah, will fill your heart, will strengthen you, allow you to carry the burden. Reciting the Quran with beauty will fill your heart with love. When you invocate his name, then you are connected to him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his name is something you love. Wallahi, I spent time with people. I don't know, there was something different about the way they said it. It just sounded different from them. These ulama who just, the word, it's like every time they said it, it was a meal. It's like you gave them a candy. You know, when you're hungry and you're offered something, a chocolate that's nice and rich, and you enjoy the feeling of it in your mouth. Forgive me, no matter how old you get, you still enjoy that. Every time they said his name, subhanahu wa ta'ala, you would feel it. You would feel that this is the joy they find. Every time they would perform salah ala nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, they would say, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. You'd find that it was something that they had to say. They needed to say it because it was so delicious. Just like I can't help myself with the food. I need to shovel all that in there so I can enjoy the food. They found something else that they enjoyed, moving there. Subhanallah. May Allah grant us the beauty of that and find the serenity of it. I think I've completely lost my train of thought. In the midst of all of these commands that are beautifying your connection and bringing you closer and granting you that strength and that passion and compassion and connection and closeness, he tells you, فَاتَّخِذْهُ وَكِيلًا. That sounds like a command of behavior, right? It's not. Tawakkul is not a behaviorally driven command. No, tawakkul is a heart-based command. Tawakkul is something that happens on the inside. It's a feeling of comfort that there's no need to over-worry yourself. There's no need to spend the nights awake, unable to sleep because you're not sure what's going to happen tomorrow. There's no need. You tawakkalt, you have put your matter in His hands, subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you'll be all right. Even if things are difficult, even if you fail, even if you die, it'll be all right eventually. And knowing that you are not forgotten. He was told this, alayhi salatu at the beginning, right? Again, an early surah that we'll come to soon. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. You need to be told that. So when you accept Him as your wakil, you know that you're not forgotten. You are not ignored. You are not being put aside. No, you're there. He's there for you. Just like you are with Him. You're still with Him. It's an issue that brings serenity to the heart. And it grants you rida. You have acceptance. Tawakkul, like the pillars of tawakkul, which is performing the task to the best of your ability, exhausting all resources to achieve the goal, knowing that the outcome is purely in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then accepting the outcome, whatever it is. That's tawakkul. The three pillars, all it is. Right? This tool is extremely important. Without it, you live a life of anxiety, of fear, of ongoing instability. Once you have this tool, you can calm yourself. Did you try your best? Yes. Khalas. What's the problem? Did you do what you could? I did everything I could. Tayyib, tawakkal Allah. Let's leave it. Whatever comes, comes. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses for me, alhamdulillah, I'll take it. If I like it, I'll say alhamdulillah. And if I don't like it, I'll say alhamdulillah. And I know that it all came from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the secret of a good life. It's the secret of a good life. It has nothing to do with, it's not behavioral. Tawakkul really, it's not really behavioral. Because if you say, well, it is behavioral because you have to try your best. Yeah, akhi, if I have to tell you to try your best, then you need to be in an asylum somewhere. You have to get out of here. You have to leave me alone and go let life chew you up and spit you out and come back again. If I have to explain to you that you have to try your best every time you do something, that's insane. Like, when did this start? I would love someone to point out historically for me. When did this begin? When did people start coming up with this? That you could somehow afford not to try your best to achieve something. That it's okay. I don't have to try hard. I'll just put in 20% of the effort, and then God will. Where did this? Which imbecile historically came up with this? Because I cannot put my finger on when this narrative began. Because it makes no sense that I have to sit down and explain to an adult living in this world that he has to try his best to achieve the goal he wants to achieve. I feel so. It's one of the dumbest conversations you can ever have. I have to sit down and explain to you that in order for you to be successful, you have to push yourself to your limits. Seriously? That's how much we have. Yeah, we've really ruined this human race experience. That there's a generation of people that we have to explain to them. Yeah, you actually have to work hard to get the to get the job done. Yeah, it doesn't really just come to you, does it? No one's going to knock on your door and say, do you want a six-figure salary, Habibi, and maybe be a CEO of a company? That's not how life works. The fact that we think that, I don't know. I don't know. I've stopped having these conversations. Like, I'm not willing to discuss this. This is where I draw my line. If I need to tell you that you have to work hard and you have to be motivated and ambitious, and then if I need to do that, then find another sheikh, please. Find another sheikh, someone else to talk to. I can't do this anymore. It absolutely makes no sense. What tawakkul does, tawakkul comes as a supplementary understanding of someone who is working hard. To say, look, you're working hard. You're trying your best. Calm down. The outcome is not in your hands. It's the hands of your trustee. So trust him with this. And accept whatever you get so that you can sleep well at night. And if you get what you want, great. If not, then you try again tomorrow. Knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never forgotten about you. And that there's a wisdom in what happens. And if you get slapped a few times on the face, it's okay. There are lessons that are being learned here. Your character is being strengthened. Your story is being told a little bit more vigorously. It's okay. You think that anyone has achieved any degree of success in life that their graph just went from zero just as a no. The story of success is a graph that is miserable, a graph that not only drops, it goes down to the lowest of the lows. The lowest of the lows. Actually, the higher the person is, the lower they were at one point in their lives. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. The higher you see someone, the lower they were at some point in their lives. I'm not talking about fame. And fame is not a measure of success. Please don't use fame as a surrogate of success, right? Today, fame is not a surrogate of success, or presidency of any country, by the way, just to add to that, just so you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. True success that is based on someone doing something meaningful and actually achieving an outcome with it, providing. This person had low, because that's how life is. That graph, it looked like that. So فَاتَّخِذْهُ وَكِيلًا. This is it's better than millions of medications. Just accepting his wakala, subhanahu wa ta'ala. You sleep, khalas, I did my best. Ya Rab, عندك. What do you give me? And if I don't get what I want, I'll blame myself that I didn't work hard enough, and I'll try it better next time to please you. And you live better. And that's why this command is here, because this is a big part of your connection with him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is in trusting him with the matters of your life, not just with the simple stuff, but with the big stuff. Well, and with that, inshallah ta'ala, we'll continue.